justice system and its role in empowering the powerful to take from you. The justice system is the only branch of your government where an individual, rather than the collective, can make the system act for you. It puts power in the individual's hands, but it's broken and being used against you at a time when you need it most.
And we are live on Who Wrote That Up For You. Today is Friday, November 4th, 2022. I'm Sonia Ebron, a co-founder at Courtroom 5.
And I'm Deborah Sloan, the other co-founder at Courtroom 5.
We've got a marvelous show lined up for you today. In a few moments, we will speak with Jim Gibbs. Jim is the founder of Meter Feeder, a parking app. So we'll talk with him about, just entrepreneurship in general and how he found himself developing an app that serves the needs of justice and some other needs. But before we get there, Deborah, what's on your mind today? What is our issue of the day?
I think since it's Friday, I want to emphasize going to bat for yourself or fighting back when you feel that there's a great big old enemy. And one of my examples, or an example, is the Brandy Creek community here in North Carolina. It's a working class community, a working class Black community that was annexed by the city of Roanoke Rapids. And the city of Roanoke Rapids basically wanted to implement this development plan, economic development plan, and they wanted to move these people out, buy their houses and all that. And the people decided that they didn't really want to do that. And so Roanoke Rapids annexed them in 2005, and their taxes and fees and everything went up by 800%. And so they were hard put to pay the money that was required of the city. Some of the utilities that other people in the city got, they had to pay more for, and so on and so on and so on. So they struggled for a long time until they went to the North. The University of North Carolina has a civil justice center, and they started fighting back, and so that started in 2005. And in 2021, the state of North Carolina de-annexed it. In other words, they ruled in favor of the community, the people who were basically whose well-being was being threatened. And so that's a really good thing. But I really want to emphasize fighting back and not just letting things happen. Because they could have moved, they could have said, "Okay, I want to sell my house and everything," but they fought back, and so it took them a long time, but they won.
Oh, that is a tremendous story. You know, we have a long history here in the South in particular, but really around the country of municipalities and states just really abusing their power over vulnerable communities. Oftentimes, those are Black communities, but not always. And
Hmm.
it is so important to take lessons, to share lessons, in fact, about the history of fighting back because sometimes you do win, as in this case. And it's just win or lose, frankly, it's just important to put up a fight when these things happen. So thank you for sharing that story. Well, Who Wrote That Up For You is sponsored by Courtroom 5. At Courtroom 5, we believe the courts belong to the people, and we, the people, are coming to claim our courts. So if you are in court without a lawyer, or you need to sue someone and can't find a lawyer to represent you, get yourself over to courtroom5.com. Try a limited version of our services for free, and we hope to provide some relief for you there. At this time, it is my great pleasure to welcome onto the show Jim Gibbs. Jim is the founder of Meter Feeder, one of the smartest entrepreneurs I know, and one of my favorite people as well. Jim, thank you so much for joining us on Who Wrote That Up For You.
Thank you for having me. And I say that I appreciate that, but you're also one of my favorite people as well. So the feeling is absolutely mutual.
Wonderful, wonderful. Jim, you tell us about Meter Feeder and what you do there.
Sure. So I'm CEO and co-founder of Meter Feeder. All of my investors are trying to get me to stop writing software, but I sneak it in every once in a while. So essentially, what we do is we are an API for parking payments. So any internet connected device should be able to pay for parking. So the first thing that everybody says is, "Oh well, I have an app to pay for parking." That's cute. This is in 2007, right? There are other internet connected devices like your car, right? So imagine if you can turn your car off and automatically pay for parking. So that's essentially what we're doing, and we're deploying in a bunch of different locations right now, and actually working with fleets so that the people who are working on your HVAC don't come out to a parking ticket.
That is
That's good.
fantastic. Yeah, I mean, and I'm thinking about all of the parking tickets I've had just historically. I am a criminal when it comes to parking. This would have really helped me for sure, and certainly will help me in the future. So, what is it that led you to developing a parking app? Where's the passion for that for you?
Sure. So I mean, same, right? As I have a wife and five wonderful sons. The chance of me having change in my pocket is zero. Right? There's 0% chance of me actually having money. So whenever I see a parking meter, I would just fine. I know that I'm going to get a parking ticket. No big deal. Right? Then finally, we ended up entering a hackathon. Me and my co-founder, and 300 people entered, and we ended up winning. And we were like, oh, maybe this has some legs. So yeah, that's kind of how we got our start.
I love it. I love it. You've been coding for a long, long
Oh
time.
man, why you got to put it like that?
I know.
For such a young man, right?
Well, thank you.
It's a very high percentage of your life that you've been coding, right?
Yes,
What
yes.
what led you into entrepreneurship with those skills rather than being a high paid developer or something like that?
It's funny because I remember the exact moment. My boss took me to lunch, and we
Mm.
were sitting there eating a fish sandwich, and we looked up and we saw a helicopter. Like this was one of those nice helicopters. It wasn't like a medevac or police or anything like that. We're like, man, look at that helicopter. And he leans over to me and he says, I bet you any amount of money that that's not a software developer in that helicopter.
Oh,
And I
Mm.
was like, yep, you got me.
yeah, 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 yeah. There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So then we realized that it's usually not the scientists that make the money off of the invention.
Mm.
There
So
you go.
yeah, I need
There
to
you
go
go.
out and sell it.
And so you've been in this profession, or at least meter feeder, for I think I saw your tweet the other day. 8 years. Is that right?
8 years.
Eight
Yes.
years.
Wow.
8 years. Well, let me ask you, how close are you to that helicopter?
Oh well. It's funny because when I was talking to my latest lead investor, we were having a conversation. Usually, they're like, "Oh, so what are you trying to do? What do you want to accomplish?" Right? And yes, I want to get rid of parking tickets. That's one of the things that's deep down in my heart. But instead of saying, "Oh, like what kind of magical thing that we want to do to benefit the earth," I was like, "I like to make a quarter every time somebody turns off their car."
Yes. Yes.
So, with that being said, yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there. It's like I went from sitting in the worst seat possible, like from driving places. Then I was able to take flights. Then I got the exit row. Then I got business class. Now I go
Yeah.
to first class every once in a while. So I'm not quite helicopter yet, but I'm making my way there.
You're on your way. You are
That's
definitely
right.
on your way. Fantastic. I know you mentioned a seed investor, and so some folks may not understand. You are a VC backed or VC backed company. What does that mean? Explain this whole investment thing, and what does that do for you?
Sure. So one of the things with especially selling to governments, it's not exactly super easy, to go in and say, hey, like I realize that 13% of your annual budget is parking taxes. Just let me take over it, right?
Mhm.
It takes a while to massage and build those relationships. So once I build the technology, then I can start talking to all these cities and municipalities and having them understand what it is that we actually do and how it can benefit them. And once I start moving that forward, then we can start making the real dollars, right? So when I'm sitting here talking about selling to cities, I still have people to feed, right? So with that being said, we bring in investment dollars in order to help us maintain and like build that strong foundation. So that when it's time for us to like really start to build and scale, we're able to put the company together in the right way rather than trying to like go to market with bubblegum and duct tape.
Most businesses in the U.S. Employ only their owners, only their founders. But you have a whole team that allows you to move very fast, to build and sell very fast. Can you share the size of the team and maybe how it's grown?
Sure. I mean, it's we still have a pretty small team, but everybody is bonkers, right? And so, I mean, so we're at like 15, but it's like crazy, ridiculous people. So, for example, we hired um, our head of product. She lived in India. She was built her own parking startup, and then she moved to Pittsburgh, like right near where I live. And she was like, "Yeah, I'm looking for a job." I was like, "Yeah, anything you want, just let me know."
Yeah.
You're working for us, right? So that's the quality of people. My co-founder and I, we've been working together for actually the first piece of software that we built together would be graduating college this year. So we've been working together for a while.
It is so important to have great people. Absolutely. And
Exactly.
so it's that investment that helps you pay those folks while you're building. So I know
And
you
myself too, but
and yourself. Yep.
who's
Yep.
counting? Who's
Got to feed
counting?
those boys. Got to feed them. Absolutely. And so you, I know, have received funding from a number of different sources. Google,
Yeah.
from Y Combinator, the accelerator, number one accelerator available, and many other folks have written you checks. Do you have a round open now? Can folks
Um,
participate?
so it's funny because one of my investors got in contact with me yesterday saying that someone said that I had a round open, and that is not true.
Mm.
But I will say that I am not in that position where if good money decides to show up, I will not turn it down.
Yes.
But yeah, it would be from very specific people that we would be raising money from. We have significant money still in the bank, and the company is still growing, and at this rate of growth that we're currently on, we should be the phrase is default alive,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So we
Yes.
just maintain our growth so that we can hit cash flow positivity. But if somebody shows up and says, "Hey, I can help you achieve your goals faster," yes, we would absolutely take that. You know, take that investment.
I love that. I'm not selling your company for you. I'll tell you what, though. Where are you available? If people wanted to use the app, or companies wanted to use
Sure.
the app, where is that available now?
I tell you what, you can just go to meterfeeder.com and get in contact with us there. You can find us on Twitter. It's at meterfeeder. And if you want to get in contact with me uh, personally, just fill out the form, and it'll bubble up. There's only 50 people that work at Meterfeeder, so they'll know where to find me.
I love it. I love it. One last question, then, Jim. You weren't thinking particularly about justice implications when you built the app, I think. But I certainly, a parking ticket, failure to pay a parking ticket is one
Yep,
of the
absolutely.
quickest ways to get into the justice system. And so you obviously are having some impact there as well. Do you have any plans to sort of build on the justice impact?
Yes, absolutely. And that's one of the things, like, we're in the process of putting that white paper together now. I mean, well, we're not putting together, we're having someone put it together, and we're supplying the data for it. Because, yeah, I mean, it's generally people who come from my background that gets bit by that, right? So if I'm in the position in order to make that easier, right, so that they don't get jammed up by the legal system, um, you know, something as simple as making it not criminal, right? Just it's there's a lot of work that needs to be done there, and I'm meeting some really great people right now that's helping me pull that forward. Um, but yeah, the thing is, of course, we want to make sure that everybody can remain compliant. But if you can't, it shouldn't ruin your life.
I love that.
It,
Absolutely.
it's not controversial.
It should not ruin your life. That's exactly
Right.
right. Fantastic. So just want to invite everybody to visit meterfeeder.com. You can download the app on your device and many places pay for your parking ticket, pay for your
Yeah,
parking without getting a ticket.
yeah. Well, I will say we're in only specific regions, so
Yes.
if you don't have to download the app, but you can come try to find us, and we can see what we can do about making sure that you pay parking tickets. And if you get a parking ticket, can contact with us, and we'll go there and see if we can help you pay so you can stay compliant.
There you go. There you go. Okay, one bonus question then.
Okay.
You're, you put a premium on honesty, and that's certainly something we have to focus on. Just integrity in business dealings,
Sure.
but beyond that, why is honesty so important to you, Jim?
Well, even if you think about it, you want everybody to be honest with you, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So, like, if I was in high school and I was wanted to, like, go out with ice cream with someone, and they just gave me every single excuse. I would prefer for them to just be like, I just don't want to go with you. Then I could stop spending my time dealing with that person,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
The same thing with VC, the same thing with sales, the same thing with everything. It was super freeing and liberating when you and the people around you could be honest with one another, and that's
Yes.
a surefire way that everyone around you can grow.
Exactly. Exactly. That's it. That's it for me as well. Jim, thank you so much. Really, always love seeing you and chatting with you. Continued success with Meter Feeder, right? I want to ride in that
Okay.
helicopter when we get it. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, I
All right.
mean, who knows? We might even do a private jet one day.
There you
Uh,
go. There you
yeah.
go.
I don't like the effects on the environment. However, I tell you what, we'll get
Hey,
an electric jet and we'll go
there you
somewhere.
go.
And
Just take the ride. Exactly. Jim, thank you so much for joining us on Who
all
Wrote
right,
That Up For You. We'll talk to you again
All
thank
soon.
you
right,
very
Jim.
much.
Thank
All right.
you. All right.
Always love talking to Jim. That's
That is
fantastic.
great. That
Deborah, who
is.
won yesterday's challenge? And
Oh,
what have you got lined up for the weekend?
we actually did have a winner this time. It was a fill in the blank. The question is a blank is a summary and analysis of relevant law supporting a motion. Is it a memorandum, a pleading, a judicial notice, a notice of appeal? And the answer is, of course, a memorandum is a summary and analysis of relevant law supporting a motion. The winner is Ibrahim R.
Congratulations to Ibrahim there.
And today's quiz: which of the following is not a good method for putting evidence on the record in your case? Is it a complaint, witnesses, depositions, or interrogatories? Which of the following is not a good method for putting evidence on the record in your case? If you want to participate in today's quiz, send your responses to quiz@courtroom5.com.
Great question. Looking forward to seeing the answers there. Y'all have a whole weekend to think those through. Obviously, the first correct answer wins. So, looking forward to seeing the answers there. Fantastic. Deborah, I'm so always so happy to talk with Jim. As I said at the outset, he's one of the smartest people I know. What's interesting to me about his story, in addition, is that he solved a problem. He started a company to solve a problem he directly experienced, which was not having change for the parking meter. All right. And and it's that happens so often. The most successful companies are the ones started by ones directly experienced by to solve problems directly experienced by the founders. And so absolutely understand that. But given the tremendous breadth of justice problems we have in the country and really around the world, it's not surprising to me that his app would end up running into and solving some justice related problems. I think many of the solutions that we see coming up these days could be solving justice problems as well. That's why the justice space, from a technology perspective, is getting so large so fast.
Yeah, exactly. And this particular piece of software helps you avoid court. And oftentimes, when you end up in court, you're going to lose something. uh, Typically, it's been my experience that if you can pay without going to court, or if you can settle something without going to court, send something through the mail, take a course, whatever. Just you don't want to go to court if you don't have to.
Yeah,
And so this his software helps people avoid that, avoid the stress of going to court. And so I'm thinking that software like that deals with, it's almost like it's on the periphery of legal, but it really helps people address legal issues and help people deal with the any kind of what we were talking about last week, trauma that comes up around being in court, being with judges or police, or having any of that stuff. So I applaud Jim on
I do too. I do too. And I look forward to the day when, we don't have to help people avoid dealing with their government,
that.
right? When it's not such a
Yeah,
traumatic experience, a negative experience, it really should be welcoming and inviting, and a place where people can go to resolve disputes that otherwise get taken out in the streets. And so that day is coming.
exactly.
Yeah, until then, it is great to have apps that help people stay away, for sure.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
Right. Well,
Okay.
that's all we have for you today. As always, thanks for tuning in. And Deborah and I will take the weekend off, and we will see you on Monday. Thanks, everybody.
Are you feeling beleaguered, angry, or afraid, as if things are spinning out of control and you're powerless to stop them? It's easy to just let things slide and hope they don't get worse. But they often do get worse. The thing is, you're not powerless. Our courts belong to us, and their purpose is to give power to the powerless. Don't let your grievances pile up without redressing them. You can handle this in court. Or, if someone takes you to court, you can take them to school.